Reggio Emilia, Italy. September 9th, a 6-year-old boy sits alone on a stone wall outside an elementary school. His sneakers don't touch the ground, too short. He swings his legs back and forth, watching other kids play soccer in the courtyard, laughing, speaking Italian, belonging. The boy's name is Kobe Bryant, and he doesn't belong here. He's American, born in Philadelphia, grew up speaking English, eating American food, watching American TV, living an American life. Then 3 months ago his father Joe Jellybean Bryant, former NBA player, got a job playing professional basketball in Italy. Rieti first, now Reggio Emilia, a small city in northern Italy. Beautiful, historic, completely foreign, and 6-year-old Kobe is trying to survive. The Italian kids don't understand him. He doesn't understand them. He tries to say hello in English. They laugh, mock his accent, push him away. Americano, go home. He tries to join their soccer game. They ignore him, pretend he's invisible. When he touches the ball, they shout at him in rapid Italian, words he doesn't know but understands perfectly. You don't belong here. Every day the same. Isolation, exclusion, loneliness. Kobe sits on that wall, swinging his legs, feeling like he's drowning in a language he can't speak, surrounded by people who don't want him. At 3:15, school ends. The Italian kids run to their mothers, hugs, kisses, chatter. Kobe waits for his father, alone. Joe Bryant pulls up in a small Fiat, sees his son sitting on the wall, sees the slumped shoulders, the sad eyes, the defeat. Joe knows that look. He's seen it in the mirror. Former NBA player who couldn't make it in America, had to come to Europe to keep playing, had to uproot his family, had to watch his son suffer because of his choices. Kobe climbs into the car, says nothing, stares out the window as they drive through narrow Italian streets. Finally Joe speaks. Bad day. Kobe nods. They still not letting you play. Another nod. You want to go home? Back to America? Kobe looks at his father, and for the first time all day, speaks. I don't have a home, but what Joe Bryant taught Kobe that night would become the foundation of everything. They don't drive home. Joe takes a detour, pulls up to a small outdoor basketball court, concrete, chain nets, graffiti on the walls, empty. Come on, Joe says. Kobe follows his father onto the court. Joe pulls a basketball from the trunk, starts dribbling, casual, easy, like breathing. You know why I brought you here? Joe asks. Kobe shakes his head. Because basketball doesn't care where you're from, doesn't care what language you speak, doesn't care if you fit in. Basketball only cares if you can play. Joe passes the ball to Kobe. When I was in the NBA, I wasn't the best player. Not even close. You know why I'm here in Italy instead of Philadelphia? Because America didn't want you. Joe smiles. Sad smile. Honest smile. Yeah, America didn't want me. Coaches said I wasn't good enough. Teams said I couldn't shoot, couldn't defend, couldn't fit the system, so they pushed me out. But Italy wanted me, because over here, they don't care about my story. They care if I can help them win. And I can. So I belong here, even if I don't speak the language, even if I'm different, because I can play. Joe takes the ball back, shoots, swish. You feeling lonely, Kobe? Yes. Feeling like you don't fit? Yes. Good. Remember this feeling, because one day, you're going to use this feeling to become unstoppable. You're going to remember what it's like to be the outsider, the kid nobody wanted, the one who had to prove himself every single day, and you're going to make every single person who pushed you away regret it. Kobe looks at his father, 6 years old, not understanding all the words but understanding the feeling, the anger, the determination, the promise of revenge. But first, Joe says, you need to learn their language, not because you want to fit in, because you want to beat them at everything. Basketball, soccer, school, life. And you can't beat someone if you can't understand them. Joe kneels down, eye level with his son. Starting tomorrow, I'm teaching you Italian. Every night, 1 hour, and you're going to learn it faster than any of those kids learned it. Because you're going to be better than them, at everything. Understood? Kobe nods. Understood. And one more thing. When someone pushes you down, what do? Get up? No. You get up, and you remember their face. You remember everyone who made you feel small, and you use that memory as fuel, forever. That's how champions are made. Not from success, from rejection. Joe stands up, passes the ball to Kobe. Now shoot. We're not leaving until you make 10 in a row. Over the next 6 months, Kobe transformed from victim to predator. Every night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Joe teaches Kobe Italian. Not gentle teaching, intensive teaching, flashcards, repetition, conversations, mistakes corrected immediately. No excuses, no breaks. Kobe's brain hurts. He cries sometimes, frustrated, exhausted, wants to quit. Joe doesn't let him. You think those kids at school are working this hard? You think they're spending an hour every night learning English? No, they're playing, relaxing, and that's why you're going to beat them. Because while they rest, you work. 3 months later, Kobe speaks basic Italian, enough to understand what kids are saying when they insult him, enough to respond. One day at school, during recess, an Italian boy, Marco, the leader of the soccer group, calls Kobe Stupido Americano. Before, Kobe didn't understand. Now he does. Kobe walks over, looks Marco in the eye, says in Italian, "I'm not stupid, you are. You can't even speak 2 languages." "I can." Marco is shocked. The American kid speaks Italian. And another thing, Kobe continues, his Italian rough but understandable. "I'm better at basketball than you are at soccer. Want to prove me wrong?" The crowd of kids goes silent. This is a challenge, a direct challenge. Marco can't back down without losing face. "Fine," Marco says in Italian. "You versus me. Soccer. Right now. If you lose, you leave us alone forever. And if I win, you won't." They play. One-on-one. Soccer ball. Small goals. First to 5. Kobe has been practicing. Every day after Italian lessons, Joe takes him to that outdoor court. But not just basketball. Soccer too. Footwork. Agility. Ball control. In Italy, if you can't play soccer, you're nobody, Joe told him. So learn it. Master it. Use it. The game starts. Marco is good. Better than Kobe at soccer. More experienced. More technical. But Kobe is faster. More aggressive. More desperate. More desperate. Marco is playing for pride. Kobe is playing for survival. Final score, 5-4. Kobe wins. The Italian kids stare. The American kid just beat Marco at soccer. Marco's sport. In Italy. Marco is furious. Embarrassed. Lucky. Just lucky. Kobe responds in Italian. "Tomorrow. Basketball. Same bet. Unless you're scared." Marco wants to refuse. But he can't. Too many kids watching. "Fine. Tomorrow." But what Kobe did the night before that basketball game revealed his true weapon. That night, Kobe can't sleep. Nervous. Basketball is his sport. He should win easily. But what if he doesn't? What if he loses? All this progress. Gone. He'll be the outsider again. Forever. He gets out of bed. 11 p.m. Walks to his father's room. Joe is awake. Reading. "Can't sleep?" Joe asks. "I'm scared I'll lose tomorrow." "Why?" Because if I lose, they'll never respect me. I'll always be the outsider." Joe closes his book. "Come here." Kobe sits on the bed. Joe puts his arm around him. "Let me tell you something about respect. Respect isn't given. It's taken. You don't earn respect by winning once. You earn it by being so dominant that people can't ignore you. By being so good that they have no choice but to acknowledge you. But what if I'm not good enough? Then you get better. Right now. Tonight. Get up. We're going to the court. It's 11 p.m. So, champions don't wait for convenient times. Let's go." They drive to the outdoor court. Dark. Cold. September night in Italy. No lights except street lamps. Joe sets up a flashlight. Shadows dancing on the concrete. For 2 hours they practice. Shooting. Dribbling. Footwork. Joe doesn't go easy. Doesn't coddle. Pushes Kobe to his limits. Again. 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 At 1 a.m. they stop. Kobe's hands are raw. His legs are dead. But his shot is perfect. Automatic. Unconscious. "Now you're ready," Joe says. "Not because you're more talented than Marco. Because you worked while he slept. Remember this night. Remember that winning isn't about talent. It's about who wants it more. Who's willing to sacrifice more. Who's willing to work at 1 a.m. when everyone else is dreaming." The next day, after school, the entire class gathers in the gymnasium. Marco versus Kobe. Basketball. 1st to 21. Marco is confident. He's taller, older. Italian kids are good at basketball too. He'll win. Restore his pride. The game starts. Kobe destroys him. 21-7. It's not even close. Every shot, every move, Every fake, perfect, like a machine. The Italian kids watch in silence. This 6-year-old American boy just dominated their leader, made him look foolish, made him look slow. When the game ends, Marco storms off, humiliated, but the other kids, they look at Kobe differently now, not with mockery, with respect, with fear. One kid, Luca, Marco's friend, approaches Kobe, says in Italian, "Where did you learn to play like that?" Kobe responds, "I practiced last night, while you were sleeping." At night? At 1 a.m. Luca stares. Who practices at 1 a.m.? What kind of kid does that? A champion. That's who. But the real transformation happened when Joe taught Kobe the phrase that would define his life. That night, celebrating the victory, Joe takes Kobe out for gelato. They sit at a small cafe in Reggio, Emilia. Italian families walking by, couples holding hands, old men playing cards. Kobe is happy, smiling, finally feeling like he belongs. "You did good today," Joe says, "but don't get comfortable." Why not? Because the moment you get comfortable, someone's working to beat you. Marco's probably practicing right now, getting better, preparing for a rematch. You think he's going to accept losing? No, exactly. So what do? Practice more, practice harder, practice smarter, practice like someone's trying to take everything from you. Because they are. I'm going to teach you a phrase in Italian, a phrase you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life. Ready? Kobe nods. Il Mamba non dorme mai. What does it mean? The Mamba never sleeps. What's a Mamba? A snake. Black Mamba. Deadliest snake in the world. Fast, precise, ruthless, strikes before you even know it's there. And it never sleeps. Always hunting. Always ready. Always dangerous. Joe looks his son in the eyes. That's what you need to be. Not the kid who won today. The predator who's already preparing for tomorrow. The one who works when everyone else rests. The one who never ever stops hunting. Il Mamba non dorme mai. Kobe repeats, testing the words, feeling their weight. Say it again. Il Mamba non dorme mai. Again. Il Mamba non dorme mai. Good. Now remember it, because that's not just Italian. That's your identity. 6-year-old Kobe Bryant doesn't fully understand. Doesn't grasp the prophecy his father just spoke. Doesn't realize that 20 years later, he'll call himself the Black Mamba and build an entire mentality around this moment. But he feels it, feels the shift. From victim to hunter, from outsider to predator. Years later, that Italian experience would surface in the most unexpected way. Fast forward, 1996. Drafted 13th overall by Charlotte. Immediately traded to Lakers, youngest player in NBA history at the time. Rookie year, he's on the bench, not starting, learning, watching, waiting. Veterans mock him. Kid thinks he's better than us. Cocky little shit. Won't last 2 years. Kobe hears every word, remembers every face, just like his father taught him. In practice, he destroys them, embarrasses them, makes them look slow, old, finished. They hate him for it, call him arrogant, selfish, too confident, but Kobe doesn't care. Because he learned something in Italy that these veterans never learned. Being an outsider is an advantage. Everyone doubting you is fuel. Every insult is ammunition. In interviews, reporters ask, "Why are you so confident? You haven't even played yet." Kobe responds, "Because I've been proving people wrong my whole life. This is just the next step." Where does that come from? Italy. Italy. When I was 6, Italian kids didn't want me, didn't think I belonged, so I learned their language, beat them at their sports, took everything they said I couldn't do and shoved it down their throats. The NBA is the same, just bigger stakes. The reporter is confused. What does Italy have to do with basketball? Everything. It has everything to do with basketball. But in 2016, Kobe would return to Italy, and the moment would reveal how deep those roots go. July 2016, Kobe is retired, 37 years old, 5 championships, 2 finals MVPs, one of the greatest players ever. He returns to Italy, not for work, for nostalgia, for closure. He visits Reggio Emilia, the city where he learned to speak Italian, where he learned to fight, where he learned to be Kobe Bryant. The elementary school is still there, the stone wall where he sat alone, the courtyard where kids played soccer. Kobe stands there, 37 years old, looking at that wall, remembering the 6-year-old boy who felt like he didn't belong. Local Italian media finds him, asks for an interview. "Why did you come back?" they ask in Italian. Kobe responds in fluent Italian, not the broken Italian of a 6-year-old, perfect Italian, native-level Italian, because this is where I became who I am, not Los Angeles, not Philadelphia, here, in this city, with these people who didn't want me. What do you mean? When I was 6, Italian kids bullied me, called me stupid, told me to go home, made me feel like I didn't belong, and I hated them for it. But now, I'm grateful, because that pain, that rejection, that loneliness, it made me Mamba. The reporters don't understand. Mamba, il Mamba non dorme mai. My father taught me that. Right here, in this city, the Mamba never sleeps. It became my philosophy, my identity. The reason I won 5 championships. The reason I outworked everyone. The reason I could never quit. Because when you've been the outsider, when you've had to fight for respect every single day, you develop something others don't have. Hunger, real hunger, the kind that never goes away. One reporter asks, "Do you have a message for the kids who bullied you?" Kobe smiles, not angry, not bitter, just honest. "Thank you. You made me a champion. You gave me the chip on my shoulder I needed. You taught me that the world doesn't owe me anything. That respect is earned. That being comfortable is death. So thank you. I couldn't have done it without you." But there's one person Kobe needed to thank more than anyone, and he almost waited too long. Joe Jellybean Bryant, Kobe's father, the man who brought him to Italy, who taught him Italian, who practiced with him at 1 a.m., who gave him the Mamba phrase. For years their relationship was complicated. Joe pushed too hard, expected too much, lived through his son, made Kobe's career about his own failed dreams. In the 2000s they barely spoke. Resentment, distance, pride on both sides. But in 2016, after retirement, Kobe flew to Italy with one mission: find his father and say what needed to be said. Joe was living in Italy again, coaching, still connected to basketball, still chasing the game that defined him. Kobe found him at a small gym in Rome. Joe was running a practice for teenage players, barking instructions in Italian, still intense, still demanding, still Jellybean. When practice ended, Kobe walked onto the court. Joe saw him, froze. They hadn't spoken in 3 years. "Hey Pops," Kobe said. "Kobe." Joe's voice was careful, guarded. "Got a minute?" They sat on the bench. The same bench Joe used to sit on 30 years ago when Kobe was 6. History repeating, cycles closing. "I came to say thank you," Kobe said. Joe didn't respond, just listened. Italy. Hated being the outsider. Hated not fitting in. Hated that you chose basketball over my happiness. For years I blamed you. "I know," Joe said quietly. "But I was wrong. You didn't ruin my childhood. You built my future. You taught me to be uncomfortable, to fight, to prove myself every day, to never sleep. Il Mamba non dorme mai. Remember?" Joe smiled. "I remember. That phrase, that philosophy, it made me who I am. 5 championships, MVP, All-Star, all of it comes from that phrase. From you, from Italy, from being the kid who didn't belong." Kobe's voice cracked. "So thank you, Pops, for being hard on me, for pushing me, for teaching me that being the outsider is a gift, not a curse. I wouldn't change anything, not a single day in Italy, not a single lonely afternoon, because it made me Mamba." Joe Bryant, 64 years old, tough as nails, started crying. "You don't know how long I've waited to hear that. I should have said it sooner. Better late than never." They hugged, father and son, teacher and student, 2 outsiders who found their place by refusing to accept where the world put them. But 4 years later, Joe would lose his son and reveal the one lesson Kobe never learned. January 26, 2020. Kobe Bryant dies in a helicopter crash, 41 years old, gone. The world mourns, millions of people, memorials, tributes, stories shared. Joe Bryant is destroyed, broken, his son, his student, his greatest creation gone. At the memorial, Joe doesn't speak, can't speak, too much grief, too much pain. But 3 months later, in a small interview with an Italian newspaper, Joe opens up. "Kobe learned everything I taught him," Joe says in Italian. "The work ethic, the mentality, the refusal to quit. Il Mamba non dorme mai. He mastered it all. But there's one thing he never learned. One lesson I tried to teach him but failed. What was it? Balance, rest, knowing when to stop. The Mamba never sleeps. Yes, but that philosophy, the one I gave him, it consumed him. He could never turn it off, could never relax, could never just be. And I regret that. I regret teaching him that rest is weakness, that comfort is death. Because maybe, just maybe, if I'd taught him balance instead of obsession, he'd still be here." The reporter is silent, not expecting this, not expecting Joe to question the very foundation of Mamba mentality. "The truth," Joe continues, "is that being an outsider made Kobe a champion, but it also made him incapable of peace. He was always fighting, always proving, always hunting. Even after 5 championships, even after retirement, he couldn't stop. And that's my fault. I taught him that, in Italy, when he was 6, and I can't take it back." Joe looks at the camera. "If you're a parent, teaching your kid to be great, remember this: greatness is important,
But so is happiness, so is peace. Teach them to work hard, but also teach them to rest, to be satisfied, to know when enough is enough. Because I didn't, and I lost my son. The Italian kids remember. A documentary filmmaker goes to Reggio, Emilia, finds the Italian kids who knew 6-year-old Kobe, Marco, Luca, the others. They're middle-aged now, living normal Italian lives, jobs, families, quiet existence. The filmmaker asks, "Do you remember Kobe Bryant?" Marco, the kid who bullied him, tears up. "I remember. I was terrible to him, called him names, made fun of his Italian, tried to make him feel small, and then he came back and destroyed me. At soccer, at basketball, at everything. How do you feel about that now?" Guilty, proud, sad, guilty that I hurt him, proud that I knew him, sad that he's gone, but mostly grateful, grateful, because he taught me something. When he beat me, when he refused to quit, when he came back night after night, until he was better than all of us, he taught me that being an outsider is a choice. You can accept it and shrink, or you can reject it and grow. Kobe rejected it, and he became the greatest basketball player I've ever seen, partly because of me, because I pushed him away, and that's something. Luca, the friend who asked where Kobe learned to play, adds, "He told me he practiced at 1 a.m. I thought he was crazy. Who practices at 1 a.m.? But now I understand. That's the difference between normal and great. Normal people practice when it's convenient. Great people practice when it hurts." Kobe learned that here, in Italy, as a 6-year-old who just wanted to belong. And instead of belonging, he became a legend. The truth is this: Reggio Emilia, Italy, 1984. A 6-year-old American boy gets bullied by Italian kids, feels alone, doesn't belong. His father teaches him Italian, teaches him to fight, teaches him a phrase, "Il Mamba non dorme mai." That phrase becomes a philosophy. That philosophy becomes Mamba Mentality. That mentality becomes 5 championships, 18 All-Star games, one of the greatest careers in basketball history, all because a 6-year-old kid didn't fit in. And instead of breaking, he became unstoppable. Being an outsider doesn't make you weak, it makes you hungry. And hunger is the most powerful weapon. Kobe Bryant proved that in Italy, at age 6, and spent the next 35 years proving it over and over again. Who made you feel like you don't belong? Who pushed you away? Who told you you're not good enough? Remember their faces, write down their names, use that memory as fuel. Because outsiders don't just survive, they dominate. Il Mamba non dorme mai. The Mamba never sleeps, and neither should you.